We are terrible at listening to warnings about disaster. Right now, just a few hundred miles away from here, in Florida, thousands of people sit without electricity. Imagine what that's like. You walk outside, you turn on your phone, there's no signal. You go back inside, you turn on the TV, no signal. You turn on the radio, no power. You turn on the faucet, no water. You turn on the fridge, no refrigeration, your food starts to spoil. You walk outside, cars pile up, no streetlights. In big cities, if you're in New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, DC, within 3 to 5 days, the food is gone from the grocery stores. And the trucks that the city counts on to resupply that food aren't coming. Within a week or two, the sewage system starts to overflow and contaminates what remains of the water supply, and people start getting cholera. Societal order starts to break down. There's mass evacuations. The emergency responders who during the first few days were desperately trying to evacuate people trapped in elevators have now left their positions like many did during Katrina to protect themselves and their own families. News is that the threat of such a blackout is very real. Now, there are a few things that we all know could disrupt life as we know it and make it very bad. Nuclear war, asteroid collision, aliens invading, horrific disease pandemic, a giant plague. And when we think about those things, we get scared because they'd be very bad. But then we get comforted because there's a really small percentage chance they happen, and they're almost definitely.
Getting news from Pakistan now. There's been a massive power outage in the country. The country plunged into darkness late last night after a huge blackout caused by a power grid failure. Pakistan's power minister took to Twitter and he said electricity blackout in the country is due to the sudden drop in frequency in power transmission system from 50 to 0. He assured that attempts were being made to determine the cause that led to the frequency drop.
कोई ऐसी बात होती तो खाली एक और दो शहर या एक लाइट नहीं होती, लेकिन ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि ये पूरे पाकिस्तान की लाइट क्यों गई हुई है। बस अब तो अल्लाह पाक से दुआ करते हैं कि अल्लाह पाक पर रहम करे हमारे मुल्क पर। हमारे मुल्क के लोग पहले ही इतना डरे हुए हैं और ऊपर से लाइट नहीं है, लोगों में खौफ हरास है।
मैं तो घर से निकला, मैंने कहा हमारे घर की लाइट नहीं है। बाहर निकला तो तकरीबन सब जगह पे अंधेरा हुआ है। तो मैं हैरान हो गया। मैंने कहा यार ये तो पूरे कराची में लाइट नहीं है, कारोबार बंद है, सब ठप हुआ है।
Pradeep is with us for more on this. Pradeep, we are given to understand that this probably was the worst power outage in the history of the country.
Yes, you're absolutely right. This is a massive power outage that has plunged Pakistan into darkness. And it also highlights the harsh reality of Pakistan, that instead of promoting the terrorism and trying to attack other countries, Pakistan should have in fact worked on the infrastructure on their side. And that's one of the reasons that there has been an outage. And one can very well understand if such power blackout is there, especially the health facility gets affected, life is thrown out of gear. You had been listening to the people there, they thought that initially it was electricity failure in their particular locality. But when they came out, they realized that it was not in their locality, but there has been a complete power outage in the whole of Pakistan. So this is what actually Imran Khan and the others need to focus over the years. They had only been trying to promote terrorism, aid and abet terror, push terrorists into the Indian side, but they never ever focused on improving the infrastructure. Had they been doing that, I think the Pakistan would have been a better place to live. But Naya Pakistan, there is nothing new in Pakistan. There is already a power crisis. On several occasions in the past also it has been seen that there had been power failure, but never ever this had happened that there was a complete power shutdown in whole of Pakistan, and Pakistan continues to grope in dark. Right. And I think this is the high time that they need to think about their country, what exactly is happening in the backyard, and giving sermons and preaching to the other countries of what exactly need to be done. And that's why it's said that here it is mostly the army officers. They think about themselves, they live like the feudal they have never been concerned about their country. Right. And Pakistan is the only country, it's the only place where army has a country. Otherwise the other countries got the army.
This air conditioning is better than any truant officer. I'm seeing students I haven't seen in years. Sugar.
Hey, Mrs. K.
Oh, Arthur.
more energy than Ricky Martin's girlfriend. Hey, you! Gentlemen, our city's sucking down the juice like my wife at an open bar. Mr. Burns, can your plant handle it?
No problem. We've siphoned off extra power from the orphanage. Who are they going to complain to? Their parents?
But, sir, we're at full capacity. One more appliance could overload the system.
Fear not. Our town has dodged disaster, and I have come out smelling like guest room soap. You know what will cool this place down? A little touch of winter.
Dad, no, we're trying to conserve energy.
Lisa, if we start conserving, the environmentalists win. Jingle bell what?
Dad, it's a blackout.
A blackout? Every time Santa and I get together, it's a disaster.
No, the power's out. We'll miss Fox Celebrity Boxing.
I heard tonight they have Ed Bradley versus Mr. Ed.
It's terrible. All the traffic lights are out. Driving sure is dangerous.
Yeah, tell me about it. I got some yuppie jerk-off headed right for me, yakking away on his cell phone.
I hear that. I got some big shot barreling down on me. Hey, who are you talking to? Your boyfriend?
Hey, jackass, your voice sounds familiar.
I don't hear an alarm. Let's take stuff.
Already, the Great Reset is being widely advertised on posters and in ads across the UK and Europe, and no doubt will be here before too long. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy is just one of their marketing slogans. I'm sure shareholders in big companies with stakeholders who happen to be left-wing bureaucrats and climate change zealots, replacing mum and dad small businesses and private enterprises with big tech and big business. Mrs. Kaput's share portfolio is out, Greta Thunberg's zero emissions are in. Democracy and free enterprise go out the window, totalitarian government control slides in through the back door. But remember, it's not only a great reset, it's a great deception. Because in order to get everyday people like you and me, Jackie, to surrender many of the rights and freedoms we currently take for granted, the repeatedly stated aim of these organizations is to deliberately use COVID as an excuse to use all the political and authoritarian tools, as Prince Charles puts it, that are currently being used around the world to eradicate the virus, such as lockdowns, exclusion zones, forced closure of businesses, heavy fines, making protesting illegal, and so on, but now to eradicate carbon emissions. Those behind this scheme are adamant that there can be and never will be a return to normal, that life will never again be what it was prior to COVID. That is why they constantly talk about the new normal. But remember, Jackie, this is not me saying this, lurking in the darkest corners of Sky News After Dark. This is them saying it, the people with the power and the means and the obsessional desire to do it. And they keep telling us again and again precisely what they have in store.
Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight the virus, but to shape the system.
We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path. It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers we have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play.
The Great Reset is a welcome recognition that this human tragedy must be a wake-up call. It is imperative that we reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reinvigorate and rebalance our world. Rebalancing investment, harnessing science and technology, and advancing the transition to net zero emissions, all elements of the Great Reset, are fundamental to building the future we need.
And if it's still not clear, Jackie, maybe Santa could pop this little gem into your Christmas stocking. The book written by World Economic Forum boss Klaus Schwab himself, setting out precisely how the most powerful forces in the world are lining up to use the COVID-19 crisis as a pretext for introducing a new climate change-focused one world economy that will strip away property rights and basic democratic rights. They are not hiding this stuff, Jackie. They are shouting it from the rooftops. Even more reason why your ignorance is inexcusable. Indeed, here's Prince Charles only a couple of days ago wearing a poppy and disgracefully using the symbolism of Remembrance Day to push this same eco-fascist, globalist, totalitarian agenda.
With the urgency required, I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you will join me to drive a new Marshall-like plan for nature, people and planet, led by the private sector to align our collective efforts and resources for the highest possible impact. We need a shift in our economic model that places nature and the world's transition to net zero at the heart of how we operate, prioritizing the pursuit of sustainable, inclusive growth in the decades to come. There is hope that we can transform the situation, but I'm afraid we are literally at the last hour, and there is real urgency for action.
Literally at the last hour, a bit of hyperbole. On a side issue, Prince Charles is now acting in a flagrantly political manner, aligning himself with a global political and business agenda reeking of oligarchies and fascism. This makes Prince Charles clearly unfit for the role of monarch of Britain or Australia, and the Queen must remove him now from the line of succession. This has gone far beyond a joke. Prince Charles is now no better than the repellent Extinction Rebellion activists who likewise desecrated Remembrance Day by using it for their own shoddy global warming activism. But back to the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum boasts on its website that the only acceptable response to the COVID crisis is to pursue a Great Reset of our economies, our politics, and our societies. Nothing ambiguous about that.
What's WROL? It means without the rule of law, anarchy, the end of civilization. Coming soon to an America near you.
America can't collapse. We're as powerful as ancient Rome.
Homer, meet the Springfield Preppers. What would you do in the case of an EMP?
Electromagnetic pulse.
A burst of radiation that knocks out every electrical system in the country.
Impending doom.
What you reading, Dad?
Honey, everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about.
When things go south, the sheeple will clean out every supermarket in town.
Typical sheeple. So, what have you learned so far from our post-apocalyptic movie marathon?
Guys who call themselves preacher or deacon are very bad. Water is money, unless gasoline is money, and even though lots of things are razor sharp, no one ever shaves.
Hollywood has taught you well, my son.
Here it is, Homer. The Springfield Preppers' top-secret bug-out retreat.
Wow! Your end of the world is better than my during the world.
Homer, we all know America's collapse is about 3 months away.
6 weeks at most.
There's always one alarmist. Anyway, when the 4 horsemen ride, we want you and your collaterals right here with us.
Hidden all our supplies behind a fake wall.
It's not the basement look cleaner.
See? These are our bug-out bags. In here is everything we need to survive.
Survive what?
The looming kablooey.
It's reassuring to see you're aware of the future, but this is all a little creepy.
Creepy? Marge, the apocalypse is coming. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe never. But it's coming. And soon.
I'm going to bed. An EMP?
You know what that means?
Hand scissors.
I'm hungry.
Look, you can have potato chips now, or if you wait 10 minutes, you can have all the brains you can eat.
I want both.
Ugh.